And away we go. It is the BCJ Podcast, brought to you by the Holy Grail, right here on BearcatJournal.com. Anytime you're down at the banks, I think we're roughly, 6-7 weeks away from opening day. Anytime you're down at the banks, make sure you stop by, see our good friends at the Holy Grail. They will get you taken care of. Great food. Love the pizza. Love the Reuben wontons. Great wings. And, of course, ice cold drinks. And anytime you're there, make sure you get yourself an ice cold Cincy Light. 50 cents extra from every Cincy Light purchase will go back into the Cincy Reigns NIL fund for every Cincy Light you get at the Holy Grail, which is convenient because we're live from the Cincy Light studios tonight. Let's get this show on the road. We're diving into the spring sports. Hopefully be joined by Jordan Bischel here before they get started in a couple weeks. But this week, joined by our good friend, Bearcat men's golf coach, Doug Martin. Doug,
guys, thanks
how
for
the hell
having me
you
on.
doing?
I'm doing great. I'm anxious for this warm weather and the snow to get out of here so we can get outside and get back into our normal routine.
There's grass outside again. I forgot
There
what
is
that
grass.
looked like.
There is grass. There is
I
grass.
don't remember 3 weeks of just like snow being on the ground.
I can't tell you the last time we have played golf in January here for probably 10, 12 years in a row.
Yeah.
And for us not to be able to get out and play golf this this semester to this point obviously has not been good, but thankfully our indoor facility we're staying pretty sharp.
David, how you doing, buddy?
I'm living, man. I'm doing well.
The beard looks good. You look trimmed up.
I got it trimmed up today, in fact.
I mean, getting lined up for the podcast.
I gotta look fresh for the Royal Rumble on Saturday, man. Like I might when I get on TV.
What is the Royal Rumble? I heard this today. I heard Pike talking about it.
Oh, WWE wrestling. It's in Indy. So I'm taking my 5-year-old, and in case I get on TV, I can't be looking all scraggly.
As much as you love golf, I just don't think golf and WWE go together, do they?
I have kind of a WWE personality when I play golf, so
I love it.
But yeah, it's a big week. There'll be like 60-something thousand people at Lucas Oil for this thing.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
But yeah, got it trimmed up today. In fact,
Ricky wants to know if we're going to be able to talk basketball. I don't know, Ricky. I don't know.
You really you want us to talk about like? But
we're talking golf today.
Yeah.
We're talking
at least
golf
for
today.
now. We are.
If we get to basketball,
I'm sure we'll get the basketball.
I mean, what the people don't know, Doug, you're at a lot of practices. You're around a lot, so you've got a unique insight into the basketball program. So eventually, I guess if we have to, we'll get there. But it's time to talk golf, so I'll turn it over to our resident golf expert, former employee for the PGA, Dave Simone.
Yes, and one time attempted walk-on tryout at Tennessee that lasted 9 holes. But
what'd you shoot?
I don't even remember. It was bad. I mean, it was like my whole it's basically like my whole freshman year. So, but I wanted to start with. I mean, you obviously went to Oklahoma, Big 8. You're very familiar with the Big 12, but going into the Big 12 and coming out of it the first year, was it the competition level you expected? Was there anything you guys took from the Big 12 just play in the week, like the events that you got in and especially the championship level events that the Big 12 puts on that you kind of used to build or modify things going into year 2?
Well, I think, number one, we were blessed in the American Athletic Conference to have a really good golf conference. Now, obviously, moving to the Big 12, it's been a significant step up. The loss of Texas and Oklahoma after year 1, but adding Arizona State, Arizona, Utah, and Colorado is 2 top 10 programs, and the other 2 are top 40 programs. So we didn't soften the blow a whole lot. I obviously, playing at Oklahoma, being in the Big 8, you got a great feel for Oklahoma State and all these other schools. It's everything I expected and more. I think we're extremely blessed to have an unbelievable stable of coaches in our program, all of which I respect, at the highest level. They all run great programs. They're great recruiters. They're great coaches. I'm very blessed to be a part of this conference. From the competitive side, college golf is a unique sport in the sense that we don't play a conference schedule. We kind of pick our schedule. So like as a northern school in the Big 12, I don't want to start my season until the first part of March. Well, the college golf basically started this week with the Southwest Invitational out in California. My team isn't ready to compete right now. It's not even close to being ready to compete. And I would not want to start my season this early. So we kind of pick our schedule. We will play the Big 12 match play in the fall. We'll play the Big 12 championship. Other than that, we will randomly see conference teams throughout the year. We'll see Texas Tech occasionally. We'll see Baylor occasionally. Kansas State pretty frequently. Iowa State pretty frequently. West Virginia pretty frequently. Houston a couple times. We typically won't play against Oklahoma State other than in the Big 12 match play and the conference championship in the spring. But, from a schedule standpoint, the Big 12 really hasn't changed our schedule. The only thing I guess that maybe it has changed a little bit is we're actually going to go west this spring. We've never gone to the West Coast to play in a tournament. We're actually going this spring to play at Oregon and Wyoming's event in Scottsdale.
That was something I was going to ask you about since we're on scheduling. I was looking at this spring schedule and noticed some of the mainstays like Colin River and the Johnny O. Why did you decide to do the Eugene and the Arizona events this year?
So Casey Martin is a friend of mine, and I've talked to him on the recruiting trail about sometime bringing my team out to Eugene Country Club. They hosted the NCAA championship within the last 10 years. It's a great golf course. It's a Dick Wilson design, same guy that designed Coldstream. It's kind of got a northern course type venue, so we don't have to play on Bermuda. We can go out there and play on bent grass. That was a big thing, and I think it would be, advantageous to our team and our program to go out and play west and just, I want to prepare my guys for what's next after college golf, whether it be, the business world or playing professional golf, and to take them out west and play out west, they can only grow from that experience. And then we're playing Wyoming, hosts an event in Scottsdale. And so we're going to play in that event this year. Just looking forward to going west, honestly.
I know you guys, when you went to the NCAAs a couple years ago, you got sent out there. Is there any thought in just getting out there at least once in case something like that happens again? So yeah.
That's a big part of it. Just, getting used to the travel, going out west, as Coach Cronin would say, it's a lot easier than traveling east. But no, I'm excited. I'm excited to go out there. We're going to spend, after we get done in Oregon, we're going to spend a few days in Palm Springs and practice in Palm Springs as well. So it's going to be a great trip for us.
With college golf being kind of split, not kind of, it is split. There's some events in the fall and some events in the spring. How do you assess how you guys did in the fall, and what are some of the biggest takeaways and things that you wanted to clean up and really work on as you head into this part of the season?
I think the fall, we only had the opportunity to play 3 stroke play events, play in the Big 12 match play, and then our last tournament, Michigan State hosts in Vero Beach, and that got rained out because of one of the hurricanes that went through there. So we only really got to play 3 events. So we really don't have a lot we've got basically 9 rounds of golf to really look at. I really am excited with this team. I was very excited with this team going into the year. We're led by Ryan Ford, and I think he continues to grow as a player. He played one tournament over the break. Connor McNeely is kind of our second best player right now. He also played an event over the winter. Michael Sen, third best player, and Rylan Wotherspoon, they all four played in events over the winter. So I'm anxious to see us come out. We've got an interesting spring schedule in front of us. Just we've done a great job in the last couple of years getting ourselves ready to play. So we've gotten to the point with the help of our academic people. We do everything online in the spring semester now. So that really allows us to get away and get prepared. And that's my whole objective is when we play our first tournament at Colleton River is I want our guys to be ready. That's our biggest challenge as a program every single year. When we come back in the fall, everybody's playing on an equal playing field. They've all come off their summer schedule. Now we come into the spring and I see all these teams on their Instagrams out practicing and doing all this stuff. And, it's a tough pill to swallow, with us not being able to be outside right now. But I will tell you, like I said, with the addition of our new indoor facility, I'm anxious to see where we are when we head down to when we head to Florida here next. I guess it's the 10th of February for a practice trip.
With the indoor, I mean, I have a good idea of what it is, but I mean, what is you think outside of just being able to kind of hit balls whenever you want and keep your swing as fine-tuned as you can? What do you guys use it for the most when it comes to like truly taking what you do there and equating it to on the course stuff?
So I'd like to open an invitation to you guys to go over and see it sometime.
You want to see my 150 ball speed? Is that it?
I'd like for you to come over and for number one, for you to see it. And number one, for you to watch kind of how we utilize the facility. So TrackMan is an unbelievable tool for our players. And we do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we do kind of a coach's direction on things that I want them to do. So prime example is when we started back the first week, I wanted to focus in on our wedge play. So we will take their 3 wedges and then their pitching wedge, and I will have them hit 15 shots with each of those clubs, and TrackMan gives them a carry number. Okay. So basically we're trying to get baseline carry numbers. And up on the screen, we can put on the screen an actual green. We can move the whole location. We can do a set of shots to where I could say, okay, I'm going to have you hit 10 shots from 125 yards. TrackMan has a strokes gained area to where it puts a circle around the flag. The further the shot is, the bigger the circle gets. So you can hit 10 wedge shots, and it's going to give you your strokes gained for those 10 wedge shots that you hit from 125 yards. So this is basically for the first week, my notes and information that I've tracked on these guys. So when we go back out in the spring, I will have a 4x6 note card with Ryan Ford, every single number that he has. So we'll start with his 60-degree wedge, his 56-degree wedge, 52-degree wedge, and there I will have a carry number on that card. So if I'm with Ryan Ford and we're talking through a shot, I'm going to say, okay, in the 100 shots that you hit between November and March 1st on the indoor facility, you hit your 56-degree, 107 yards on average. So we're collecting data, and like the other day, I had them pick their 3 favorite wedge distances. Okay. They can be random distances. I said it has to be between 60 and 130 yards. So I will have on that note card, what are your 3 favorite wedge distances? So if we're on a par 5 and we can't get to the green in 2, I'm going to look at that card and say, okay, you got 3 options here for your favorite yardage. Let's lay it up to that number. Guarantee ourselves a good birdie look. So the information and the data that we're collecting is incredible. 2 days ago, we finished practice with an on-course challenge. And so Muirfield Village happened to be the course that we used. Obviously, I'm very familiar with the course, having played the Memorial there. So you go out on the course and literally you can put the ball anywhere you want on the course. So we played the 8th hole, which is a downhill par 3 to a front pin. We played the 12th hole, which is another downhill par 3 to a front left pin. And then the 14th hole is one of the hardest wedge shots on tour on Sunday when the pin is in the back right. It's a very narrow opening, and we hit the shot in there from 125 yards. And we broke the team up in 2 5s, and everybody had to hit the green from those numbers. And it gets the juices flowing, gets the guys having to hit some shots under pressure. The facility has been, again, I can't even describe how it's helped us. It'll be really interesting this year because we will have had a month in the facility before we play outside. But we added Sam Putt Lab, which is basically TrackMan for putting. We have Putt View. Wall to wall, we have everything you possibly could ever want in an indoor facility.
Can you guys, like what most people view it as is like golf simulator, are you able to view the courses you're going to go play ahead of time for the ones that you haven't been to before to give the guys like an idea of just a general idea of layout and things like that?
So tomorrow we will start our pre-tournament kind of sessions. So I think there's 2 courses on the simulator that we play this spring, maybe 3. But in our team meeting room, we have a stat program called UpGame that we use. And so we will have tomorrow, Michael Sen is going to take us through Colleton River. So we will put Colleton River up on the television in our team meeting room, and we will go through the course. And Michael basically will talk about how he will play the course, and then my assistant coach, Austin Frick, and I will add in our thoughts because we've been there. So we have nobody on the team that's played the Dye course at Colleton River. We've been playing the Nicholas course for the last 2 years. So, we're going to do everything in our power to be prepared every single place we go.
Can you bring those courses up at the indoor facility? Can you
Yes.
practice on them?
We have 3 of them that we can, but we'll take a TV tomorrow and we will upload the whole. So we'll have our yardage books. I've already got our yardage books for every course for this year. And we will basically go through each hole tomorrow, and we will look at, different carry distances of bunkers off the tee. If there are hazards in play, what's the carry of the hazards, typical club selection, the typical wind direction. Like I've been at the Dye course. I think I've taken the team to the Dye course for 5 events. I have a pretty good idea of what the wind direction usually is in the first part of March. So we'll be able to analyze the holes and say, okay, the 5th hole is, 420 yard par 4, but plays a lot further because it usually plays into the wind, and just stuff like that, just trying to get the guys prepared as best as I possibly can. It's our scouting report basically is what it is.
How much do you think having that simulator, being able to play a course ahead of time, if they haven't played it before, do you think it does give an advantage? Yeah.
It more than anything, it just gives you the views. It just gives you the perception, the lay of the land. Like it honestly, I told the guys on the team that if I was able to have TrackMan and Putt View back when I was playing professionally, I would have that in my basement. The only time I would ever go outside to practice would be if I was playing with my friends or just going out to mess around. Because the data that you can collect, you go out on a driving range right now, Kenwood, or wherever you go, and you hit range balls and you have no idea how far it went. You have no idea what the trajectory was. You have no idea what the spin was. You have no idea what the launch was. TrackMan gives you all of that information. And we are able to do, like I said, the things that we can do inside, honestly, are endless, from tracking data and getting good information for the players.
So this is something that I've heard recently, and I don't know if it's just a golf talking point or not, but how do you keep the guys then from playing golf and not playing TrackMan and using the data for the value that it is, but not being like beholden to it and still being inventive and all of that stuff?
So once we go to Naples on February 10th, it's all going to be about playing golf. It's going to be working on our short games, and it's just really going to be getting back into the mindset of playing golf. What we're doing right now, David, is really just when we go to Naples and you've got a 173-yard shot to the hole. We've just spent the last month tracking what club, right. what. So it basically comes down to, do I have the ability to execute a 173-yard shot on the proper flight, et cetera, et cetera. So really all we're like our practices, I've been amazed with this team because as I talked to my assistant the other day, I said, I want to hold their attention every day. We can't come in here and ever go through the motions. We've got to come in here and I've got to provide them. So I basically provide them with a practice plan every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then on Tuesday, Thursday, we have competition days where we compete against another teammate. So we've done a tremendous job of holding their attention. You know, for the first basically 2 weeks, I've been unbelievably impressed with their focus, their energy. Like I said, I'm very excited right now to see what we do when we come out and start competing.
Something I've noticed, and you would obviously know much more than myself. I mean, I've followed college golf for a long time, but really heavily the last few years. It feels like scoring is at an all-time high. Like you have to basically freewheel it to have a shot. Is that true? And how do you guys work that dynamic of patience and course management, but also knowing we've got to kind of put the pedal down if we want to be successful in this event.
Yeah, no question. I think the depth of college golf right now is as great as it's ever been. The transfer portal and all that stuff is affecting us as well. So, when you're talking about strategy, I think your strategy goes from player to player. Really, we have guys on our team that can play extremely aggressive. And so I don't coach or teach conservative play. I teach aggressive play to target lines that you feel comfortable hitting. Our guys, I think, are extremely well coached as far as managers and how they manage their games. I don't think anybody ever tries to do anything that they're not capable of. So when going out with our guys, we spend so much time at home working on strategy and working on course management that when we go to tournaments, I trust my guys to let them go and make good decisions. And that's been a great formula for us because, I trust my guys.
I just know like when I was coming up, if a team got to like 20 under or something, that was an achievement. And then 2 years ago, I don't remember if it was Texas or Arizona State, 1 year regional at like 40 something under. I'm like, these guys are just.
I think it was 63 under.
Oh, it was even more. So
yeah.
I mean,
it's crazy, and that too had a lot to do with the golf course.
Oh yeah,
the golf course was terrible. The golf course was one of the easiest. I would obviously say it was the easiest golf course we played the entire season. That's disappointing to go to a regional championship and play the easiest course you've played all year.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like for sure that's shouldn't be the case when you're trying to qualify. Big 12 championship though is not an easy course.
Southern Hills. Yep.
Did the guys get excited when they get a chance to play a course that has had U.S. Opens and PGA championships, or do they not? Does it not really matter to them anymore?
It matters. It matters because growing up as a young kid, you want to play where the pros play. And, I think Southern Hills, in April is going to be a hell of a test for our team. It should be windy, could be cold. There's a lot of different variables that could be present there in April. Excited to take the team there. I've played there previously many times. I have not played there since the renovation, so it'll be a little bit new for me as well. But, really excited to take the team there. We've got a player on our team who is from Oklahoma and who has finished first and second in his last 2 events at Southern Hills. So, he's going to have a significant role in potentially playing there, helping the team if he's not in the lineup. But no, I mean, I'm looking forward to the challenge. I know the guys are as well.
Not going to try to put you on the spot here, but do you feel like you have an NCAA tournament team this year?
No question. No question. If we were 52nd, 55th, something like that right now, the number this year is probably going to be 70 or 71. I would sit here and tell you I'd be really surprised if we aren't playing in May. I really like my team. I really like their attitude. They all have such a desire to improve and get better. And they know the standard that I've set for this program and my expectations. They know the price that needs to be paid to get to do things like this. Our motto this spring is earn, not given. And I think that we're in a good place for that. I really expect our team to play really well this spring. I really do.
I'll certainly be following. I would love to figure out a way to get to one of these events, but I'm not sure. Maybe Chad can gas up the BCJ jet and we can head out to Tulsa.
Let's do it.
For the conference championship.
Yeah.
We'll do that for sure.
Did they drop the match play or did
basically the match play? So, we've had some disputes, amongst, the brethren of coaches on how, stroke play and match play are 2 different animals. And we've really tried to figure out how to implement that into our national rankings. And with going through the transition from GolfStat to scoreboard by Clipped, it's been a challenge on really how to evaluate head-to-head matches. And so basically what they've done is you beat someone, it counts as a win. And it doesn't count nearly as much as our stroke play events. But, I'm a huge fan of the Big 12 match play because of the experience that our kids get of having to hit, shots that have a huge value. When you play match play and you're playing against, just one person, the pressure in a match and the ebbs and flows in a match are incredible. That's what makes the Ryder Cup, the President's Cup, all these team events so exciting. Is match play is just a different. It's just a different.
Yeah.
And then
always
it's
have to assume that the guy's gonna
always have to expect he's
chip
doing
in or something.
He's going to do something great. Yep. You always have to
I'm glad you brought that up about GolfStat because I was looking for rankings and I'm like, this website does not look anything like it used to.
It's scoreboard. It's scoreboard by Clipped.
I was trying to figure out, okay, where am I going to keep track of live events and looking at rankings? You guys were 56th.
56th. Okay.
Yeah. So
we're in a good spot. We're in a good spot.
What? Well, I will ask this. Ricky is asking about some local courses, Hyde Park and CCC. What are some of your favorite? And I know you guys play out of Coldstream, but do the guys get a chance to play any of the other locals? And what else? What do you guys like to do around town?
We play some other courses in town. We've played Hyde Park some. We've played McAtee some. We've played Clovernook some. Coldstream is in Traditions over in Northern Kentucky. Coldstream is our home course. The relationship we have out there is just fantastic. It's truly a championship venue. In my opinion, it's the best course in town. It just requires so much from a player. It's my favorite course.
You can help me get a membership over there, right?
Sure.
Oh, Dave.
I know. Hey, gotta try.
Hey, you never know until you ask, right?
I think I played less than 10 rounds in the last year, so they probably
you got to get out more than that.
No kidding. The 5-year-old is into golf now. He got his first set of clubs.
That's great. And
he's all about the range and everything this past summer. So
that is great.
He will be out there very soon. So that'll probably give me a good excuse to get out there more. Chad, you got anything for Coach?
I mean, golf-wise, I kind of let you handle that. If he's ready to talk the other thing, we can talk the other thing.
I'm trying to think if I've got any the other one I did notice, the Tiger Intercollegiate in Columbia.
Yes.
That's a new one. Is that a heavy SEC event, or is it a little bit of everything?
It's a little bit of everybody, but there was a regional there last year, the year before, so it's probably going to be a regional site again at some point. So I'm trying to knock off some of these potential regional sites too when we make visits to different places. So, the Missouri event fit perfectly on our schedule. We didn't go back to Vanderbilt this year, which, we had not played very well at Vanderbilt for 3 straight years. I don't think we played well I don't think we played poorly. We just didn't score the way I thought the way we played. So I was like, let's give ourselves a break from Vanderbilt and let's go somewhere else.
When you're doing schedules, is it just communication with other coaches like, we'd like to come here, how many spots do you have, or are they reaching out to you?
Combination.
Like the Casey Martin relationship and just saying, we got an event, do you want to play in it this year?
Combination. When we're on the road recruiting in the summer, we talk a lot about schedule. We talk about a lot of opportunities. Next year, the Bearcat Invitational will be our best field we've ever had next fall. Arkansas, Ohio State, Kansas, Iowa State, Louisville, Kentucky. It's a pretty who's who of college golf. So, we schedule, first of all, we schedule a course schedule, places we think we can play well, fields we think we can compete in and play well, and then also get the opportunity to play a variety of teams. I want to play teams in the ACC, teams in the Big Ten, teams in the Big 12, and teams in the SEC. I don't want to run from any of the Power 4 teams.
Oh, no. Because that's who you're going to have to play in if
you
make the tournament. So
who you got to beat.
You may as well find out what you got.
Yeah.
Yep. Not saying when it doesn't matter, but I mean, it's not a one and done situation. So absolutely. When you everybody obviously talks about the Big 12 and it helps with recruiting, and we all know that, but you guys have had some good individual success over the last, dating back to Austin and then some other guys more recently. Has that played a part in getting better guys to come to UC as well?
I think it's recognition of what we have here. And I think with having transfers come in, so we have a transfer coming in next year from LSU. We've had a transfer from Arkansas. When you have these people come in and transfer, they have this outside perception of the Cincinnati golf program. It's not a bad perception, but it's not that of Alabama. It's not that of Texas. It's not that of Oklahoma. But when they get here, they're like, damn, I didn't know this was here. And I think you could go top to bottom with the guys on our roster, and they would tell you, this is where I want to be. I don't want to be anywhere else. Coach Martin and Coach Frick take care of us. They prepare us. They provide us with everything we possibly could have to be a great player. And they speak so highly of the program when they leave here. it's great to know that's where we're heading as a program.
You guys obviously play out of a top flight course and facility, and now you have the indoor. What is kind of next on your list of, something that you feel like the program can benefit from? I'm sure you'll use some elements of the huge indoor and all that comes along with that. But what's next in the golf world that you guys are wanting to get your hands on?
Recruiting, player development, and having expectations of being great, honestly, are where we are. I don't think there's really much anything else we need to change for being a Northern school. But the expectation of our program, continuing to recruit players that fit our culture and can become great players here with Coach Frick and my help, that's where we are. I think we have everything that we need. Now it's on us to go out and get it done, honestly.
Well, I'm ready to watch some golf.
Yep.
I know that much.
Yep.
Maybe you can get one of those 30-foot boards like the TGL has, and the grass that rotates and has the real grass and the sand from Augusta.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
And it only took them
pretty fun.
It only took them 2 times to build the place because the hurricane destroyed the first one. So
yep.
they've only Tiger and Rory have only soaked in about $500 million into this thing.
I'm sure. Yep.
It's been fun to watch.
It's getting better too.
It's perfectly timed. Like 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, like 7 o'clock, you can still catch your basketball game right after or before. And it's just like something totally different, but yet totally different than what anybody would think of as just like going to a golf simulator and hitting into a bay. Like this thing is out of this world.
Yeah, it's out of this world. Correct.
The green.
You got one of those in your basement, right?
Yeah, I got a 25,000 square foot green in my basement that moves depending on what what the hole is.
Dan Simon got that for you, didn't he?
Yeah, he's been doing well out in Vegas. I'm going to be seeing him in Reno in a couple months. So
Brent can go with you. It's not going to have.
I told him that. He told me I was. I won't tell you what he told me. I wasn't being a good fan. I was like, Brent, it has nothing to do with being a good fan. I'm just being real.
Let's get to basketball, Coach. You're at a lot of practices. You're familiar with things, and that dates all the way back to hanging out with Marvin Kleinman at Mick practices. Marvin, one of my all-time favorite human beings.
Yep.
My favorite Marvin story is he had lung cancer. He was in the hospital for 3 weeks, and he got out of the hospital at 11:30. And he was in the practice gym by 12:30 for a 1 o'clock practice.
For a 1 o'clock practice, yep. You gotta love it.
With his walker, Marvin had this is how much Marvin loved UC basketball. He had a driver, right?
Yeah.
That drove him around.
Yep.
Mick was very selective about who was allowed into practice.
Yep.
So Marvin's driver would bring him to practice and then sit in the parking garage
right.
and wait for Marvin to come back.
Marvin to come out
3 hours later.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's great. That's great.
I miss Marvin. Marvin was awesome.
I do too. I miss Marvin. I miss Hep too.
Yeah.
I miss Hep a lot.
We tried to get Hep to some practices, but I mean, I know he's been to a couple.
Yep.
I'd like to see him there more.
Yeah, I agree.
Doug, is this one of the things? Like, does this make any sense to you? What is happening with they have the talent. We saw this team play well and get close all year last year against the top teams in the league. They win 7 games. They had a chance to win 10 or 11, even though they came up short a couple times. Most of the team comes back. Expectations are sky high. They go 10-1 in the non-conference. And for whatever reason, I mean, we all have our theories. Everybody's got theories. It hasn't worked. As a coach, what do you see?
Well, I started watching this team in the summer.
Yeah.
When I'd come back from recruiting trips, I probably watched them 3 times in the summer. I'm pretty regular to practice. I've probably been to 10 or 12 practices for the year. Once we get into our spring season, I just don't have the time to get there. I really saw an explosive, exciting, energetic team, throughout the summer. I saw players improving. I know enough about basketball. My father was a basketball coach for 27 years. So part of what I enjoy about going down to practice is I always like to learn from my colleagues. Coaching basketball and coaching golf are 2 different animals. But I enjoy watching how my coaching colleagues handle players, handle communication, handle coaching and everything like that. And I saw a team coming together looking like they were poised for, a really good season. Next, probably the thing that I think a lot of your general fans and a lot of people don't understand is I think this move to the Big 12 was bigger than what people may have first thought. Secondly, it's really, really, really hard to win in college right now. Every single, you talk about every single school is doing the same thing. They're feeding their players. They're flying private. They're paying their players. They're doing everything. Everyone's doing the same thing. You're talking about 18 to 20-year-old kids and who's going to show up on a nightly basis and be willing to go out and lay it on the line and compete. I think a lot of the games, I think our guys have played hard. I think there's games where our guys have gotten frustrated and they kind of have, not competed to the level at which I think they should. We haven't made shots. Making shots in basketball is like making putts in golf. It wears on you, and you start missing some putts in golf, and that hole seems to shrink. You start missing shots in basketball, and that rim gets a lot smaller and a lot tighter. And, we're playing in a conference to where night in and night out, you've got to bring your best stuff. You watch, you look at a West Virginia team tonight that, I've seen play a couple times, and I've thought they've played great there at home against Houston. And Houston, I think, is up by 20 or 25 at halftime. And, I think we all want more. Everybody wants more. I want more from my team. West, we all want more from all of our players. And, you hate to use the word patience, but I use the analogy with a lot of friends. You look back 12 to 15 years ago when West Virginia was in the Big East and they left to go to the Big 12. And you think about the football programs that they had with Rich Rod and all the players they had running around at West Virginia. And when you woke up on Sunday morning, you saw West Virginia football highlights damn nearly every Sunday. Since West Virginia's been in the Big 12 in football, what do we know about West Virginia football, honestly? It is a challenge. It's something that every single day, John Cunningham, every single coach, every single administrator, everybody in our building has to work for us to get better. And that's the challenge that we have in front of us. I look back to when I started coaching here, and I look back to where we were and where we are. Let's think about 20 years ago when we had 5,000 people in Nippert Stadium to watch us play football games. Now we have Oklahoma. We had, BY. We've had all these different teams come in here and play in the last 2 years. Who would have ever thought we'd be sitting here watching these great teams play? And I certainly think our day will come when we get to the level that we need to get to compete. But right now, in basketball, we're going through the baseball player who's hitting line drives at the shortstop and the left fielder, and they're getting caught. Sooner or later, that ball is going to find the gap, and you're going to start getting hits, and players are going to start getting confident. With a team sport like basketball, confidence is a big thing. And, right now our players, in my opinion, don't look to be playing with a lot of confidence.
And that's exactly what I was going to get to. You coached maybe the ultimate confidence sport. So it's something that you're familiar with. And it's something I've noticed too. Like it doesn't feel like a team right now that walks in expecting to win. And I think that's the frustrating part for fans. Is over the past 35 years, and you've been around for a lot of it, Cincinnati teams walked on the court and expected to win, whether they were overmatched or not. How does that team get back to that? How does this team get back to that?
I think teams that have played Huggins teams, mixed teams, they hated the fact that they had to play us because they knew nobody in basketball likes to be defended like we typically defend. And it just gets to be, it's like that gnat that's flying around your head. We have defended and we have physically, you look back at, I heard Tony today, I heard Mo today talking about all of the players that have played here in the past. And when that ball went up on the rim, that was like a piece of food, man, and they were going to get it. And it didn't matter who was in their way. They were going to get that ball and, rebound that ball for their team. And, I think that's, again, I'm not here to question, a team's effort, but, to be rebounded 7 straight games in a row is just, that's something that, my father as a coach, we would have done an animal drill for 5 or 6 days in a row to find out who wants to go get the ball. And, there'd be blood on the floor and all that other stuff. And, my dad didn't give a shit who got hurt. He goes, I want to find out who wants to get the ball. And, I think that's a little bit of where we are. But you know what? We've got 11 games left. We need to try to turn this as much into a positive finish to the end of the season. And, we've got some, with Iowa State still looming and Houston still looming. And, we've got some challenges in front of us. But, we just got to continue to, people show up at Fifth Third and people cheer these guys on and, try to create the energy to get these guys out of this slump, because in athletics, everybody goes through slumps. And, right now we have a collective group that's in a slump, and, we're going to come out of it. It's just when. And I think that's what everyone's hoping for.
David?
I agree, because I don't know how much more I can take of the slump. So need to figure that out. You talk about, I know this. A lot of people understand this. You understand this with golf and confidence, and how that just manifests itself, and guys get in their own head. And how do you, what are some things that you do with your team when a guy does lose his confidence? I've gone from hitting a ton of range balls to just not touching the clubs for a while. You got a guy that just can't find the fairway or can't make a 4-foot putt. What are some of the things you guys do to try to get that back?
I think, our biggest thing is just mental prep. We've got, we have a guy on our team who, we've got a couple guys on our team that are really hard on themselves, and they're hard on themselves because they want to be great. And my biggest challenge to each of them is let's look at what's happening here. Like when you're missing putts, if you missed it, why did you miss it? If I hit a good putt and it doesn't go in, I'm okay. When I hit bad putts and misses, when I have a problem. In basketball, you could translate, if I'm getting a good shot in the half court set and it's not going in, it's not going to always not go in because I'm getting good shots. that's kind of my message with us in golf is, if you're not hitting the ball in the fairway, or are you picking the right target lines? If you're trying to hit a draw, are you hitting a draw? I try to get our guys to not live in the past. I try to get our guys to, let's look at the next shot. Let's get to the next hole. Let's get to the next shot. It's the same thing. It's the same thing in sports. You read the stories of Jordan and Kobe and all those guys, the number of shots that they missed to win games and the number of shots they made to make it. I mean, you're going to miss shots. You're going to miss putts. The mental aspect is, again, it comes back to the toughness. Can you handle adversity and how do you move on from it? That's kind of what I preach. And if you're going to let a missed putt affect the next hole, then you aren't tough enough to play this game. You got to move past that and be prepared and put yourself in that opportunity on the next hole. It's like, in basketball, you got to be the guy that wants the next shot and know that, what, I'm going to take it because I'm going to make it. It's like Ziegler last night for Tennessee. As a Tennessee fan, do you want Mekhi Ziegler shooting threes?
If
Yes.
Chaz Lanier's not open, yes.
Right, yes. But
Yeah,
you know what?
I
He
mean,
had 3 or 4 open threes last night in the last 4 minutes of that game, where if he makes one of them, could be a different outcome.
Yeah. I mean,
But he makes none of them. And it's why we love sports. I was telling someone today about sports talk radio, and I love sports talk radio. I love shows like this, is when you're talking about your team, nothing is greater and more fun when it's gone good and you're winning. Nothing is worse when you're losing, not playing well, and it becomes so ultra negative. And that's where we are. That's where we are. And it's hard because what are you going to say positive right now? And then that's the hard part. But you do need to try to figure out what can we do to take away some positive things to try to get this thing turned around. And that's how I look at it. We played. I'll go back to our first tournament this year. Our first tournament this last fall, we go to Tennessee. And I thought we had an unbelievable kind of a fall camp, kind of a fall practice, fall qualifying, getting ready to go to our first event of the fall. And we go to Tennessee in a great field, and I think we finished 10th or 11th out of 17 teams. Unbelievably shocked and disappointed as a coach. But I knew we were coming back home to Coldstream, to the Bearcat, with a great field, and knew that we can't put up 2 stinkers in a row. And so we immediately came back, and I told them when we were coming home from Tennessee, I said, you got the rest of the night to get through this and get past this. Tomorrow we start preparing for the Bearcat and getting ready. We obviously played good in the Bearcat. Louisville played great down the stretch and beat us by a few shots. I think they beat us by 2 or 3. We finished second. But that bounce back was key for us. And the key part is I told the guys, you have to think about what happened here in Tennessee on our drive home. But once we get back to our indoor and we unpack, we're on to the Bearcat. Tomorrow starts prep for the Bearcat. That's a hard thing for 18 and 22-year-old kids to figure out. And in basketball, it happens so fast. You might play on a Wednesday and then you play on a Saturday. And shit, you might have a walkthrough before you play a game. You're having a walkthrough against a great team. And it's, so I mean, again, winning is difficult. Winning is hard. And, we got to keep plugging and keep pushing.
You mentioned trying to find ways to make sense of it. You know how messed up my brain is, Doug?
Yes, I do.
So we get done last night about 2:00 in the morning with everything. And generally, when we have a show the next day, when I head hits the pillow, my brain starts to shift to the next day. That's just, kind of how it works.
Yep.
All right, what's up next? Like, what are we doing tomorrow? I literally did not sleep last night, Doug, because my brain
I didn't do well either.
My brain just kept spinning and kept like trying to make sense of this because it doesn't make any sense. Like, it doesn't. We have seen these guys perform at a high level. We have seen these guys play at a high level with some consistency. And they're not the toughness stuff that you talked about. I know people think about toughness. I saw it on the board today. Day Thomas showed some toughness, shoving that guy into the stanchion last night to get the technical. That's not toughness, though.
No,
it's not. It's stupid.
It's careless.
It's careless. It's putting your team in a bad spot because you made a selfish decision, probably because you were frustrated.
Yep.
Or whatever it was. And that's not Day. Like, that's generally not his MO and who he is. Toughness is getting stops in the final 4 minutes of a game.
Yep. Toughness
is not fouling their best free throw shooter on an inbounds play because he's got you by a step going baseline.
Yep.
And if they would have had to have made a tough pass at a tough angle in a spot where he could have been trapped in that far corner. But instead, you foul him, and now you've almost, eliminated or greatly reduced your chance to win the game. And I think more than anything, like we've talked about this a couple times, this was the number 1 offensive rebounding team in the Big 12 last year.
Yeah.
Number 13 in the country. They were number 35 in the country in defensive rebounding. When we talked about this team coming into the season, the one thing I was certain, regardless of what happens, because I still had questions about, are these guys going to take the next step as shooters to open up space on the perimeter, to make the roster fit better together? We had questions about they didn't have any top 100 guys. Are they going to be able to consistently have the whole be greater than the parts?
Yep.
I was certain this was going to be one of the best rebounding teams in the country.
Especially adding Dylan Mitchell.
Yes. John Newman was a good rebounder from the wing. Yep. Dylan Mitchell is a better rebounder.
Yep.
He has rebounded at a high level. So in trying to make sense of it in my brain, I keep coming back to that part. I can't understand how a very similar group of guys, the entire allure of the construction of this roster, they had played together in an era where everybody is trying to figure themselves out for 2-3 months. And you were going to have this advantage that your team was together. They knew each other. They knew their strengths. They knew their weaknesses. You were adding a great player in Dylan. You were adding a good freshman in Tyler Betsy, a couple rotational pieces in Arrington Page and Connor Hickman. Looking at it, that thing, how did they lose that superpower? Because that was their superpower. If they were going to be great at one thing, it was going to be this. It was going to be rebounding. And as you said, they've been out rebounded 7 games in a row.
Yep.
That at some point in time, you have to put your foot down and say, that's not going to happen.
Right.
We're not going to let it happen anymore. And for some reason, this team hasn't been able to take that stand. And that's got to be what's driving Wes crazy.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree on that. And I think when you watched us early in the season, and I'm going to, in particularly go back to the exhibition game, I thought we dominated a pretty good Ohio State team, and they've shown, what are they, middle of the road in the Big Ten? They middle of the road in the Big Ten. And it's good. It's a good basketball team. And, I just think it's, we've got to just, we got to continue to get back to what Cincinnati basketball stood for the last 50 years, and, get back to that foundation. And, I trust Wes. I trust the coaches that they'll get us back to this point. And, we've got to, we've got to take the next step on Sunday, playing a good West Virginia team coming in here.
Got anything else, David?
No, I'm good.
Doug, it has been a pleasure.
Well, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate, both your guys' interest in our program. Chad, I always enjoy seeing you at the games, and what you guys do and the good information that you guys provide the listeners for Bearcat Sports is invaluable. You feel your love for the university and the athletic program. I think that's the thing that I've really picked up the last few weeks or so is if people weren't talking about Cincinnati athletics, shows how much people care, and people really care about what we do. And I feel that as a coach. I know all the other coaches in the building feel that love, and it's our job to put teams on the field, the course, the court, whatever, the field, to perform at a high level, and that's our job. And I trust in our coaches. I think we have a great staff. It's a process, and I think this process moving into the Big 12, I knew it was going to be a challenge. I was very fortunate to be a little bit out in front of this and recruit a little bit ahead to know what was coming, and I think that's really helped our program be in the position that we're in right now.
We're going to try to get Dave to a tournament, but
yes,
we're gonna get down and see the indoor. We have been saying this for a year.
You gotta tell Chad when you guys practice, so I can come down and check it out.
We practice Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings, and we're Tuesday, Thursdays in the afternoons. And anytime you guys want to come down, just send me a text. It's in an office building. It's about 8,000 square feet. It's key coded, and so I'll have to let you guys in. But anytime you want to come down,
you're not going to give Dave the code.
You're always welcome. I can't give out the code. I can't give out the code.
The only thing I would be good for is taking all the Pro V1s out of there. And he'd be like, "Where'd all our golf balls go?"
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys, and let's keep pulling hard for these guys, and hopefully they're learning some valuable lessons through this as well. That.
Yep. We appreciate it, man. I will
appreciate you guys.
Sunday.
All right. See you on Sunday. See you.
There you go.
Bye-bye.
Doug Martin, head coach of the Cincinnati Bearcats golf program, and a guy with a bunch of knowledge on there we go. A bunch of knowledge on Bearcats basketball. As I said, he has been a regular at basketball practice for a long time, loves the game, knows the game. I take a lot of value in what he says, and I would like to thank him, Dave, because I was struggling on what we were going to do tonight. I'm not going to lie. Like, I don't know how many times we can say the same thing. I don't know how many times we can make the same points and go over, the same talking points and frustrations. And it's hard. It's difficult right now. It's like getting out of Lubbock, Dave. It's hard. It's hard.
It is hard. I mean, that's the frustrating part, I think, for this team in particular, is because you went into the season with some questions, but they were, I'm not going to call them minor questions, but they were not like fundamental like, this is not a rebuilding year. This is, it's like, and that's why now it's like when you say, okay, what can they do to fix it? You're kind of like, I'm not sure, because sure, you go through ebbs and flows and you lose games and you're in the Big 12 and shit happens, but like, how do you answer questions of how did you start 2-7 or whatever the heck it is? Like,
it's not even the 2-7 start. They look bad.
Well, that's where I'm at. Is like the micro of it all, and talking about a play here or a play there. I'm kind of past that point. Like, to me, we came on here. We come on here every week, but it's been now like 3 weeks where I personally, I said, like, okay, that's nice you got those 2 wins, but like, if you really want to get my attention, and maybe, it was clearly it was, an unrealistic ask, But I kind of said, like, okay, you got Texas Tech at home, and you got 5 games in a row after that are very winnable, whether they're on the road or at home. There was no Kansas. There was no Houston. There was no, Iowa State. Like, these are winnable games. Get back on track. And what did they do? They dropped all 3 of them from the day I said that. And then the topper for me that just kind of has cemented where I sit with the program as a whole. Like, I don't care if you want to talk players, coaches, but it doesn't matter to me, is you go to BYU. And yes, they are a good offensive team. And they made a bunch of shots. But you let them slash in the 70s in the second half.
76, 77, 77.
And 3 days later, you turn around and in the first half get dog walked by a team that is not good offensively.
110 coming into the game, Utah's offense.
So I'm sitting here as a casual who does not go to games, who does not go to practice. And what am I supposed to think? Like, what is the message in those days? Whatever the message is did not resonate.
Yeah.
That takes 2 for that to happen. But, like, I mean, I'm not even going to say, like, Cincinnati program. That's any damn program, man. Whatever the cause was, you got your doors blown off in the second half. Good offense, bad offense, good defense, but whatever. And then you turn around 3 days later, and that's what you do in the first 20 minutes. Like, I'm not interested in that. I'm sorry. Like, I know it's our job to, like, talk about it, and I'll talk about it until I'm blue in the face, but, like, that is not basketball that I have any interest in watching. Yeah. And I don't
Really quick.
Yes.
We do have to pay the bills real quick.
Pay them bills.
We're going to timestamp right there, and we'll continue talking basketball in just 1 second. Turtles Brew. That timestamp brought to you by Turtles Brew. 6% ABV, 0 sugar, 0 carbs, gluten-free. It's a bourbon-infused sweet tea. They have lemonade tea, strawberry mint, cherry lime, raspberry peach, orange, vanilla. There's more than 50 locations in greater Cincinnati, over 100 now throughout the state of Ohio. If you want to know where to get yours, all you got to do, visit turtlesbrew.com for more information and locations. And, of course, remember, a portion of the proceeds go to save the sea turtles. Guys, we will get to the chat. I promise. But we're in the mid, like we did an interview, and now we're getting into the meat of the thing. Like it's the podcast is not very interesting if we don't podcast. We'll do the other stuff. We'll get to the other stuff. I promise. I've been doing this a long time, guys. I know how to, like, make the flow. You got to. There's a flow to it. So we'll get to you guys. But if Dave's in the middle of a soliloquy, he can't stop and answer your questions. And Dave's good at soliloquies.
Sometimes. Other times I'm not so sure. But as a regular fan, like, how are you supposed to respond to that type of stuff? Like, I know we need to be positive and we need to still go support, because if you don't support, then it's not going to get better. I mean, it's like, right. But at the same time, I'm sitting here going, like, I don't care that guys are in shooting slumps. The rebounding thing is a concern because it goes to kind of what I'm just talked about. It's more than just grabbing a rebound. Like, so, like, the play here, play there, we're way past that point.
Yeah.
Like,
they're playing bad. Like,
so, like, that is a effing just personal pride thing, man. Like, the last time you walked off the court, a team almost outscored you, or though they did, right? It was the same score. They had 52 in the second half, and we had 52 for the game at BYU.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they scored in the second half the same amount of points that you scored in 40 minutes. And then you turned around and, as Aaron said on the aftermath, allowed the same number of offensive rebounds as you got defensive rebounds, and allowed a team to shoot 50-something, 60-something% and score 40 points. So you
Dude,
gave up 92 points in your last 40 minutes, and the team's combined shot, I don't know what, 60-something, almost 70% from the field for 40 fucking minutes.
Yeah. That's
like, where is the like? I don't give a shit if Steenos or Jizzle or Dan are not shooting, or like, this is just pride, man. This is like having some freaking nuts and just being like, this is not going to happen anymore.
It goes back to, like, we talk about this a lot. I talked about it last night. I talk about it all the damn time because it annoys the shit out of me. Like, when you're in a league like this and you're playing a team that's got their back against the wall, you expect that you're going to get their best shot. Like, you just know it. Like, we knew going into that Kansas State game, this is dangerous because they have talent. They have not played well. If they're going to, like, get back on track, it starts first game of Big 12 on their home court. You know they're going to be dogs that day. And all we've seen is puppies. We haven't seen any dogs, Dave. We just seen puppies. Puppies are cute, and they might bite you, but it doesn't hurt. Like, we've just seen puppies. And at 0-4, there should have been desperation. And we didn't see it. Like, yeah, they beat Colorado and Arizona State, but I didn't walk out of those games feeling a whole lot better about how they played, even though they won.
They almost blew both of those leads.
Right. So, and then you win 2 games, okay? Texas Tech comes in and does whatever they want offensively. Like, just, yeah, you had a good game on offense. Like, they had worked on offense. Clearly, that was something that they had put a red star on or gold star on. Got to get better on offense. They spent a lot of time on it. They played better offense. But Texas Tech just worked your defense. Just worked your defense. Bing, bing, bing. Ball pop. Defense couldn't keep up. Wide open shot. Bang. Like, over and over and over again. And then you go to BYU. First half was pretty good. You held a really good BYU offense to 28 points in the first half. And then at the first sign of adversity in the second half, they quit.
Oh, I mean, it was, I remember, it was 42-28, and I was just like, I'm out, because this is about to get ugly, and I'm not staying up till midnight to watch them get their asses handed to them.
Yeah, and they didn't, that's, everybody wants to equate toughness with physicality, and it's not physical toughness that we're talking about. I mean, sure, that's part of it, like, yeah, you got
physical toughness to not get moved off a block for a team to out rebound you by almost 20. But
right,
like, there is no attitude. We've said it now for how long, and now it's just a joke. Is like, hey, when are we going to get our backs are against the wall, and
right,
we sit down and guard like we've never guarded before, and we can
rebound like their life depends
because
on
we've got more energy and effort, and like, I mean, I don't want to question guys in that space because, I mean, but I see it, man. I see it.
It's not good enough.
These teams that they're losing to, and by margins that they're losing, it's not a who's who of college basketball royalty with a bunch of 5 stars and stuff like that. So, they have talent. It's not clicking for whatever reason. I wouldn't even say effort, because for the most part, in the 31 game season, sometimes your effort sucks. Let's just be real. I mean, my effort on a daily basis is probably not optimal. So, like, it's not an effort thing to me. It's an attitude thing. Like, it's a mindset. It's we got the crap kicked out of us, but that's the last time that is happening.
Right.
Right. And I'm not excusing it. Sometimes the other team does just hit a bunch of shots, and there's nothing you can do about it. But they also hit a bunch of shots where they were wide open and just stepped right into them. So
Everybody but UC is going to make those shots, Dave. If you give them wide open rhythm shots, they're going to make them.
So
everybody but Cincinnati.
It was the response.
Yeah.
It wasn't the BYU game. It was the response to the BYU game. That's where I start to question, like, you know, as someone who is not at practice, like, so I could sit here and you could tell me, Dave, the message is on point. Like, they're just not, like, it's not resonating. But again, that's on you then as a staff. Okay, that's not resonating. What else do we do? And I'm sure they're at their wits' end. But you know, you got that's what you get paid millions of dollars to figure out. That's what these guys get paid a lot of money now to play. Like, I'm never going to be like overly critical, but I mean, you're pushing to basically be employees. Do you know what that means?
Right. They are employees. They're making,
but not technically, because they can't get fired.
I mean, they can. I watched Mick tell a manager to go pack a guy's room up and
true.
get him a flight the F out of here. And then the next day of practice, he was never to be seen again.
I'm not going to compare, but you know, and maybe that was something you could do back then. And now that the guys are like, "Oh, I'm making this much, so go pound sand."
Send my ass home. The check's going clear.
Right. So, I mean, it's hard to. They're in a bad spot, and I'm not sure how you dig out of it, really, because it's more than just. It's gotten to the point where it's more than just playing basketball.
Yeah.
So how do you dig out of that? That's the question. I mean, it's more than just we didn't rebound or we didn't run the set correctly. Like, it's gotten way past that, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's effort, 40 minutes, like knowing and being able to withstand. There's going to be bumps. Like, you're in a great conference. Everybody's got really talented dudes. Like, you know, it's the understanding that every game you're going into, there's going to be ups and downs. They're going to go on a run. You're going to go on a run. Like, there's going to be some back and forth. But, like, when it comes down to it, and you know, I've talked about this for the entirety of time that we've been doing this. One of the things I loved about mixed teams was in the final 5 minutes, no matter what happened for 35 minutes, in the final 5 minutes, it was guts on the table. Like,
how many times did we do this podcast and we would say, from the final media timeout, the other team did not make a basket.
Yeah. 5 minutes to the end of the game. Final media timeout to the end of the game. Didn't make a field goal. Turned it over 3 times. Like, just got, and you know, everybody hated it. A lot of UC fans hated it because UC usually only scored like 1 or 2 field goals in that 4-minute stretch. But it was, it's not fun, but it's boring basketball to watch. But that's what I want from my team. I want my team to take that opponent when the game is on the line, when your nuts are on the table, and say, you're not beating us. You're not getting where you want to get. You're not accomplishing what you want to accomplish, because we're not going to allow it, because we know tomorrow in practice, our entire well-being is dependent on these final 4 minutes of this game.
Yeah. I want to be able to change clothes in the locker room tomorrow.
Yeah. Those are always so dumb. Like,
I know. I mean, I'm telling you, if Wes hasn't taken away the practice uniforms yet, then I don't know what we're doing.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
But I mean, and it's unfortunate and it's unfair that we fall back on these types of comparisons. But like, that is, and yes, college basketball, college football, all of college sports are so different, even than when Mick left. So it's sometimes I do feel unfair in bringing up former teams and hearkening back, but like I'm not doing it in a way to say that way was better, but at the same time, like that's what UC basketball was built on, and it didn't win enough in March, and no one will be able to argue that. But you have to fucking get to March to win in March. And the way that it's going right now, you're staring at 6 straight years and 4 for this program in its current state not getting there. And there is not a single excuse you could make to tell me that it's not a big deal or that it's not a major, major disappointment if they don't make the tournament. I will not hear any of it.
Of course it's a major disappointment. Of course it is.
So that I'm just like, so it's hard to not do some comparisons, but I took a lot of crap on what was formerly known as Twitter when Mick left, saying that I would be stunned if they made the tournament once in the next 5 years. Well, unfortunately, I'm being made to look, I don't know if I'd say smart, but at least correct.
Let's not get carried away. Yeah, you're correct. That's different. Smart and correct are 2 different things, Dave. But
it's just, I mean, to me, it's the stuff I don't want to just keep regurgitating the same things I've said. It's just, it's an attitude, and they don't have it. And I don't know how you find it with, the start of February. Like, not sure many teams just all of a sudden become something that they're not halfway through the conference schedule.
That's the hard part. Like, there's 11 games left. And at some point, I think it's fair, David, 2, 3, 4 games into something like this to say, I'm going to give them a little time to come out of it. I'm going to give them a little time to, get things back on track and to really like find their groove, because, they did have a really tough first 4 games of the conference slate. Like, shit can go wrong in conferences like this when you've got a stretch like that. And you can't manage to get
Big
one.
East, man. I mean, for sure.
But it hasn't happened. And, it's as simple as this, Dave. If they take care of Kansas State and Utah, they're at 4 and 5. And there's questions because they haven't beaten, the teams that were above them. And then Texas Tech and Utah were supposed to be in that same little grouping of 3 teams, 4 teams that were below that first group, like 5 in the first group, 3 or 4 in the second group, with UC, Texas Tech, BYU, and Kansas State. Those were supposed to be like 6, 7, 8, 9, right?
Yeah.
But now you're 15th. And the only team below you hasn't won a game. So I have a hard time continuing to just be of the mindset that, like, just let it roll. Like, they're going to get back on track.
Yeah, I mean, that's not happening.
It's there was a light at the end of the tunnel, Dave, and it turned out it was a train.
Yeah. You gotta, that's why I was like, okay, you won those 2 games, but now I need to see you win a bunch more for me to think that wasn't just, not an aberration, but like something to truly build off of. And then they turn around and lose 3 in a row.
Right.
So, it essentially wipes any positive momentum that you garnered from those two is gone.
Yeah, it doesn't matter anymore.
So we'll see.
Because you weren't able to turn that momentum into W's.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, Sunday, if they don't really want to sit down and guard, Javon Small have 40.
Right.
And they're going to play a UCF team that appears to not play any defense, but has guys that can get 40 because they have one that got 40 and then got 34 last night at Kansas.
They're scoring 80 plus, like they've had one or two bad games, but every game they're scoring between 80 and 90 points.
So we'll see with the attitude and the, if that comes. But let's get to some of these questions before these guys
head out of here.
Discontinue.
You still here 2025? You still here?
I can't answer his question. I don't have any idea what the student section is good or bad.
I think the student section's been fine. They're not winning at home.
Right. They have like a 400 winning percentage in Big 12 play in the year and a half they've been in the Big 12. The students haven't seen a lot of wins.
That's part of the exchange, right? The students show up, they're there, they're ready, and if the team gives them like the momentum to be crazy, then they'll be crazy. I thought they were crazy for the Xavier game. Were they not? Was there a problem then? I didn't see a problem then. I didn't hear anybody complaining about the student section then. But when you can't win the majority of your home, forget winning them all. When you can't win the majority of your home games, people are going to get a little flat.
I mean, in a perfect world, we would like to think that all fans are there and they are enthusiastic no matter the outcome, and they are there to support their team, whether it's college, pro, high school, whatever. But in reality, we know that sports is very transactional. Like,
right.
I will support you till I'm, blue in the face, as long as I'm getting what I want out of it. And if I'm not enjoying this, why would I come and go, camp out or be there early and make a bunch of noise? And if I'm not enjoying it, because it doesn't feel like you're holding up your end of the deal.
Yes, the past was different because if you go back 6 years, they had the longest home winning streak in the nation. And the game they lost was at NKU. So yeah, it was different. Like that they were rowdy. They were into it. They were charged up. Now, were they as charged up against East Carolina and Temple? Probably not. But it was still a great atmosphere because, you knew they were going to win. And that's fun. But if you go back to like the beginning of mixed tenure, they couldn't get 7,000 people in the arena.
Oh, I mean, even when they were good, it was hard. There were nights that it was not 10,000, 8,000, 9,000. I mean, I give, especially, both major sports, football and basketball. I mean, even through some rough times over the last couple of years, fans have come out.
They've showed up. You got to give them a reason to be loud.
Basketball's always going to be harder. It's cold. We're in Ohio. Like, if your team's not doing good, am I really trekking out there as a student? Am I really going to go to the game when it's 25 degrees out and the team's not playing good or whatever? Like, it's just a harder ask. Like, and I'm not making excuses for them. Most of us were all students at one point. I mean, I ashamedly attended very few Tennessee basketball games. Looking back on it, I'm like, why did you not do that? You lived, on campus most of the time.
Chris Lofton was there.
No, he was there after I left. Okay. Our coach was Jerry Green. We were not very good. We got good after. We were good at football before I got there, and then good at basketball after I got there. So it must have been me. But basketball's a tough one. Tuesday night game, Wednesday night game at 9:00. It's 20 degrees out. It's just a different vibe. It's a different ask than once a week on Saturday, but you got to win. You have to win. If you want fans to show up, you have to win.
I mean, there's usually 2 football games a year that are like, man, it's nice out. It's either hot as balls and humid or cold as shit.
Yeah.
Like that's a difficult challenge. And on the basketball side, like it's been 5 years since it's been good. Like it's been okay. This is really the first oh shit, what's happening?
Give people reasons to you can't give people reasons to not attend. Life is already like I had season tickets when they redid the arena, and I had to get rid of them because I have a small child, and it didn't make sense to have games on Tuesdays and Wednesday nights that I was not going to be able to go to. Like that's real life stuff. But so you have to give people reasons to overlook those things.
I look at it like this, Dave. If I pay a bunch of money to go to a concert or go to a comedy show, because I love stand-up comedy, and I spent a bunch of money and I went and the band sucked. Right? Or like they didn't have it that night, or the comedian bombs, and I'm walking back to my car. I'm like, I just fucking wasted my money. It's the same thing in sports. Sure. If I spend a bunch of money to take my family to a game and I got my wife there, she's not with us anymore, but hypothetically speaking, my wife right here, see, she's right here. And I got my kids, and I'm spending $50 a ticket, and I'm spending $100 on concessions and souvenirs and whatever the case may be. And I'm walking back to the car after my team lost. I'm in a good fucking mood.
Yeah, you're not like getting online the next day being like, when's the next home game? I'm going to spend all that money over again.
Right. Like so, I'm going to do that again. Or going into the next year, I'm going to sign up for that again and do it again. Like that's just the cold, hard reality. Times are tight. Naysayers are broke these days.
It's hard on the streets.
It's hard on the streets.
Hey, let's
pimping ain't easy, Dave.
Ricky, what do you want to talk about? I don't want to mess up your mental health. What do you want to say?
Go to class. You're in your 5th year. Graduate. Or if you're like Dave, you got another couple semesters.
You got another year and a half. You can do it. You got it.
But it's okay. Go to class. Tough it out. Show some toughness. I didn't want to function this morning. I didn't sleep last night. Dave, I got to 5:15. And the alarm goes off at 6:40. And I had the realization.
You should have just called me. I was on my way to the gym at 5:15.
I should have. But I got to the realization that if I fall asleep now, I'm just going to be pissed when that alarm goes off at 6:40. So I just got back up. I got my phone. I started scrolling the TikToks and reading the message board. I decided
doom scrolling Bearcat basketball.
Doom scrolling Bearcat basketball from 5:15 to 6:40. And then I got up, and then Kelsey had the nerve to send me a text, Dave. Dad, can I sleep for just 5 more minutes? Can I just get 5 more minutes? I said, child, I have not slept. I have been up all goddamn night.
You can get all the minutes you want. You can also find yourself your own way to school.
Right. Walk your ass to school. It's 3.5 miles that way. Bye.
Bearcat 2025, are you asking us if we drink energy drinks or coffee, or are you asking Ricky Slack?
Ricky. I am not a coffee guy. I don't drink coffee. I don't drink energy drinks.
I don't either. I don't drink either.
I have a Dr. Pepper every now and again. It used to be Mountain Dew. I've kind of moved on from the Dew. I'm a Dr. Pepper guy now.
We got people in the chat from the heavens, from the afterlife.
Whoa.
What is going on there?
Kelly, chill. Okay? Chill. We're off the rails. But, you know, you got to tough it out. You got to tough it out. You got to get the degree. You've already put in enough time that you might as well just get it done. Bearcat basketball is frustrating right now. We're all frustrated. I'm here for you. We're here for you. Yeah, Dave hasn't even looked at his phone once today.
I'm doing good, aren't I?
You are. Aaron and I had an idea last night. We were going to go on Amazon.
I heard you. I listened to the aftermath this morning while I was part of my workout and in the sauna in the car ride, and I was like, well, I'm certainly not going to give them any fodder to take pictures of me.
The googly eyes on your head, though, would have been fantastic. Right on your head.
With Will drawing like a nose and a mouth, so that I think it would have been great. And actually, it was my daughter. She texted me, he.
Oh,
she's upstairs watching the podcast. I guess logged into Kelly's Google account and making comments. Aaron from the gutters. He thought you were joking about the gym. No, Dave's a 5:15 a.m. gym guy.
Not every day. I was also up though because our kid is he's having some trouble sleeping through the night. So he comes in our room, and if he comes in late enough, I don't need a lot of sleep. So if he comes in like late enough, 2:30, 3 o'clock, I'm not falling back asleep.
Right.
So I just went a little earlier today. Usually it's like 6, but got to get it in before he goes to school and the workday starts. But
Ricky, if you want a picture, I'll gladly take a picture.
But yeah, I mean that is the unfortunate part, is that I don't know that there are any answers, man. Like it's not like a football thing where it's like the quarterback stinks. Put in the other quarterback.
Right.
The pass game isn't good. Just run the ball all the time. Like basketball is just like, we knew who this team was coming into the year, and we were all fine with it. Like I don't think anybody was like, this is not how we should have put a roster together, there's no I don't think there's any hindsight here. The guys coming back and added should be playing a lot better, and they're not. So where do you go? You know, I would like Josh Reed to get a few more minutes, but I don't think that's like some secret potion that all of a sudden is going to put them on an 11-game winning streak.
Right. That's nothing more than Josh Reed has played well enough to earn more minutes.
Has earned some more minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that that's like, you know, this isn't a thing where it's like we can point to one or two guys and be like, these guys are playing bad, and for some reason the coach is still playing them. That's not where we're at. Like, I mean, guys have, I mean, we say this, and I say this with football a lot. It's like guys have to earn their minutes. Just because the guy isn't playing great on game day, you're not seeing practice. The coaches aren't dumb. Right. They wouldn't keep rolling out the same guys if they felt the guy was outplaying them in practice. If guys were playing better than the starters in practice consistently, and then they got a chance to prove it in a game, and then did it in the game, they'd be playing more. Like, I think that's why Josh Reed got 17 minutes.
He was playing better. He earned more minutes.
He's playing better. He earned more minutes. So
the other thing is, guys, these guys coaches don't want to get fired. They make a lot of money to do this. You get fired, you get dropped back down to the mid-major level, making a lot less money. They're all worried about getting fired. Trust me. Every one of them, except maybe Jimbo, was worried about getting fired. Jimbo was like,
if I signed that contract, I wouldn't have been worried about a damn thing.
Right? I'm trying to get me out of here. I'm going to the beach.
I wouldn't be worried about a damn thing if I was him. But I mean, I laugh at a lot of the comments, and I have some thoughts that I will not say because I have Bearcat Journal LLC and Chad Brendel Inc. in my mind, and those things are important. And maybe if you catch me at another time, another place, Twitter, whatever, I might tell you some things that I think. But like, that's you sign up for this stuff,
right?
It's great. The highs are high, but I mean, I don't think anybody is in the wrong with whatever thing they want to say right now about the basketball program. Like, the play is in front of you. I mean, it's right there. You can say whatever you want.
Free country. Like, if they're 14-4 and people are calling for people's heads, like, shut up. But they're 2-7 in conference play. People are mad. They should be mad. If people weren't mad, guess what? I wouldn't make any fucking money. I wouldn't be able to pay you guys. We wouldn't be able to do this because they'd just cancel Bearcat Journal. Nobody would watch, and that would be the end of it. So, like, yeah, be mad. That's necessary. It's good. There's a standard. You have to live up to the standard. If you're going to be the coach at Cincinnati, there's a standard you have to meet. And right now, this team's not meeting that standard. And people are going to be mad. It is what it is.
I agree.
Ricky, relax, dude. Relax. We've been talking to you guys for like 20 minutes now. Cool. It's cool. We read the chat. My goodness. You got anything else, David?
I don't think so. Is there anything we're missing? We have a junior day on Sunday. Keegan posted some names there. Pretty big list. A lot of Ohio and Midwest guys coming in.
Yeah, a little bit of South, a little bit of Southern flavor, but
yeah, it's hard. Dudes are playing basketball, going on other visits. So, you do the best you can. It's always more interesting to see who takes the time to come to spring practices.
Yeah, that's I don't blame anybody if they don't come to spring practices this year, Dave.
Well, because it's outside.
It's not gonna be fun.
Hey, at least it wasn't. I mean, it could be worse. We could have got the weather we had the last couple weeks.
We don't know yet, so shut your face. We don't know what it's going to be like outside.
You'll be there. Keegan will be there.
We will.
Get them parkas and them hats on.
I think the second week in March, we'll start spring ball, 3 practices, then spring break, and then come back for the other 12 leading up to the spring game. I need some positive in my life, Dave. I need some positive in my life.
Baseball's starting up.
Baseball is starting up. Hopefully, I don't know. We haven't confirmed this yet. We are efforting Jordan Bischel for Monday night to get us ready for baseball season. I think they are 16 days away from first pitch. So we're working on that. We will have him on at some point in time soon. We will also have Zach Grant back on at some point in time soon to get us familiar with all the transfers and all the freshmen that are on campus. I imagine now that these guys have been in the gym in the football program, we will have Nico back on here in a couple weeks to get us updated on their progress. So even though basketball is struggling, we're still going to have great content, Dave. We had Satterfield on Monday, Doug Martin today. There's plenty coming up. maybe we'll hit up some of the old basketball guys. I had a former player hit me up today and asked me to be on the podcast tonight.
Oh, you better have him on Monday because Brent would not like that if I got a former basketball player and he didn't. You know how hurt his feelings would be.
It's very, very hurt. It would be very, very hurt.
We have our lanes. I'm a talk to coach guy. He's a talk to former player guy.
Yeah, it's a guy that's been on before. It's Kane. Kane hit me up this morning and said, "Bring me on the podcast, bro." So I appreciate that, Cincy Light. We've been doing this a long time, and I'd like to think we're pretty good at it.
Some nights. Other nights.
So, yeah. Some nights just don't got it, Dave.
Hey,
but
we always bring the attitude and the energy. We might not make any shots. But,
right. But the energy and the attitude are there.
The takes might suck, but we'll at least be confident with them. I mean, you said top 5 rebounding team in the country. I once said 12-0 football season. So like the takes aren't always going to be great, but we come with conviction.
Keegan said 15-5 in Big 12 play.
And Emory Jones outside Heisman shot. I think he might be.
Right.
He's worked with us the least amount of time and has some of the most outlandish predictions.
He's young. He hasn't learned yet that you only get out over your skis every so often. You can't do that too much.
He doesn't have the decades of jaded that the rest of us have.
Right. Oh Christ. All right, that's gonna wrap it up. Real quick, one more time stamp. Turtles Brew, 6% ABV, 0 sugar, 0 carbs, gluten-free, bourbon-infused sweet tea, lots of great flavors: cherry lime, raspberry peach, orange vanilla, lemonade tea, strawberry mint. More than 50 locations in Greater Cincinnati, over 100 in and around Ohio for our out-of-town folks. Visit turtlesbrew.com for more information and the location nearest you. Meeting with Cincy Light next week, Dave. We got some promotions coming up, some giveaways coming up. These bad boys are going on sale here soon.
There's going
to be a pre-sale that's going to be available for the Cincy Light neon sign. So and I love it. Every time I go there for a meeting, I leave with beer. And hooray, beer. So, excited to have that meeting next week because we got a lot of good stuff coming up with our good friends and partners at Cincy Light. It's going to wrap it up. We will see you guys next time. It is the BCJ Pod, brought to you by the Holy Grail, live from the Cincy Light Studios, right here on BearcatJournal.com.